So probably a lot of you don't know how to wire up an outlet or a switch, and I'm going to show you. First, we're going to do an outlet, so let's take a look here. Yellow Romex is 12 gauge wire, white is 14 gauge wire. White is pretty much illegal now, so now it's just pretty much 12 gauge wire. So you got your black, your ground, and your white in here. The black is the hot one. We've already turned off the power. I did get shocked earlier because my hot tester was broken. I've had this thing forever, and all this stuff broke on the inside, which is quite shocking. Anyway, so what you want to do is make sure that your power's off, which hopefully it is. You might get to see a shocked John on this one. I don't know, Brooke just saw it and she laughed a lot and pointed to all her friends about it. Now she's a YouTube sensation. That's not really true, she was very nice about it. So you want to get this stuff exposed. And so here's what's going on, okay? One of these comes in and one comes out. On an outlet, it doesn't matter which one, right? So you can see one of these wires comes in and one comes out. So it's coming from the breaker box to here and then from here to another place. But we need to hook it up to this outlet so that we'll have power. So blacks are your hot, that's power coming in, that's what'll shock you. White is your neutral, and that it's alternating current. And so what that means is that it comes up the hot and then comes back down the neutral. And then your ground goes straight to a ground bar that goes into the ground. And when there's a problem, then electricity is lazy, like us, and takes the path of least resistance, and that takes it straight down to the ground, and then it dissipates, so then you don't get shocked as badly. So first thing you want to do is take your grounds and twist those suckers together, okay? So that we're good and grounded. These are wire strippers, but they're also dikes, which are pretty cool. They cost a little bit more, but definitely worth it. So you want to get just one sticking out for that one. And then you want to curl this sucker over, and your bare wire goes on your green screw. Okay, so green is ground and bare wire is ground. So sometimes there's a green wire and that'll be ground, or the bare wire is ground. So then we take that and we pinch it around there, like that, and then we tighten this up. Tight connections are really important in electricity, because if it's not tight, then it'll spark, and if there's anything flammable, then it'll start a fire. It also makes some heat and stuff like that. So green is to ground. There's silver screws and there's brass screws. Silver screws go to white, brass screws go to black, okay? So we're gonna take these, we'll cut them back. Oh, I got the wonky pliers, and then strip them back. There's backstabber ones too, but they cost more. And those you just stick in the back of the thing. And a lot of electricians don't say good things about those. So I don't really care if you want to use a backstabber, knock yourself out. We just don't have it for this one. So we stick that onto the screw and then tighten it around. Like that. Same thing. Okay, so it's good and tight all the way around. There's our whites that go on silver screws. Our green goes to bare wire, which is ground. And then we're gonna cut off the excess here. Usually you wanna have 6 inches out of the box whenever you're running your wires, which is about your hand. And let's just see if I'm anywhere close to right on 6 inches. Oh snap, it's exactly 6 inches. Look at that. It's weird. Our bodies are made a certain way. Did you know that you have exactly one eye width in between your eyes? And right here, that's how long your nose is. And from here to here is how big your foot is. And your wingspan is how tall you are. There are many things like that. Girls, stop listening. 3 times as big as your thumb, that's how big your penis is. Girls don't understand measurements because their whole life they've been told that this is 9 inches. It's not. All right, so anyway, back to reality. And you, once again, just get these on there. It's good that it's important that you get it wrapped around there tight. And I probably make that look easier than it is, but just make sure that yours is tight. Also, 12 gauge wire is significantly harder to work with than 14 gauge wire. So you kind of have to muscle it a little bit, but I'm used to manhandling it because I am. So then you take all this stuff and you kind of mash it back in the box. You don't want to cut it too short or anything. I usually use a drill at this point because I'm lazy. And then you put these 2 screws in. One down here. ahead and put this box in a little deep, but I'll fix it. So you want this to be flat with the wall. You don't want it to necessarily be tight, and this happens a lot, right? Is that you got to get this flat with the wall, but not sunk into the wall, because then your switch plate will go in the right place, and you have some room to adjust too, right? So then from there, you got your outlet cover. This is the really hard part. And you put that on, and then you tighten that up. And you're good and snug. I'll have to cock that, but that's how you put on an outlet. Yay. All right, so we just learned how to do an outlet. Now we're gonna learn how to do a switch. Okay, so you got hot wires, they're black, we've already learned that, right? The way that a lot of guys mark their, okay, so on a switch, let me show you a couple things. Like if you look in this box, I've got all my grounds already twisted together because whenever you do your rough electrical, you do that, okay? And then we leave one tail sticking out. All our whites, we twist those together and we wire nut it. You can see that? And because we're bypassing the whites, because on a switch, you don't need that. All we're doing is we're switching this power from a power source. This is like hot coming in and hot going out, right? And then this one goes up to the light. And so whenever you switch, sorry, I'm trying to hold a lot of things here. If it's off, then these two are disconnected from each other. But when you turn it on, then it connects these two and then gives power up to your light. And then at that point, you've already got your whites. So it wouldn't have power unless you switch this last one. So usually I mark it by twisting this wire like that. And then you have that look, and later on I know like, oh, that's my from my power source. So what we're gonna do on this is first we're gonna start with our ground, right? And so on this one, it's only brass screws. There's no silver screws because you don't need them, because I already talked about we're bypassing that. So we're gonna take this and put it on here. That's your ground. And then we'll find the right pocket with my thing in it. Tighten that up. Good and tight again, right? It's important. And then we come to this side, okay? I got too much stuff in my hands. And one side of this side, is gonna be, I usually do it to the top. You can do it either way, I guess. But I just try to stay consistent, because then if later on I have to come back and do something, then I know which one it is. So, we curl that, and then that'll go to the top. That doesn't look great. And then we tighten that up. And then here, this is a little bit more complicated. You can twist these together and put a wire nut there and then just have one tail that comes out if you want to, but I'm not gonna do that because I got the lazy Jane. I think everybody knows. People look at me and they shake their heads and they're like, he's so lazy. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Very lazy. So, I'll cut these just a little bit longer. So you don't want this stuff like sticking out here. You don't want hot wires that are gonna touch something else or whatever, right? But you wanna hook both these suckers on there at the same time, which can be a little bit challenging. And then you get it on there, and look at that, I did it, yay.
So why do you have both of them at the bottom?
So we got, that's a good question. We got hot power coming in and hot power going out, right? That's gonna stay on one screw. And when it's off, it's disconnected from this, and this one goes to the light, right? Whatever if it's a light or a fan or whatever in the world it is, and then once you connect these two, then this power and this power touch on the inside of the switch, and then you get power up to your light. So hot power in, hot power out. You could have a bunch of them. You could have 5 of them in there if you want to. It would be dumb, but you could. And then you put them all on one screw, and then whatever goes to your light goes to the other screw. And then if there's more than one light, like here, so this switch goes to this light, but like this switch over here goes to these 2 lights. So you would come up from here to one light, and then from there to another light. That's called daisy chaining, right? And so that's how that works. And you could have a bunch of them. Like outside we have 10 lights, they're all connected to one switch, and that's not a big deal. Anyway, then you just take all this stuff and you jam it back in the box, try to be neat about it. You don't want your bare wire to touch a hot wire, which sometimes that happens. And so you want to get it in there nice and neat. And then, see, we want it to be sitting square too, like it was kind of cockeyed or whatever. By the way, did you hear about the baby was born without any eyelids?
No.
Yeah, they had to use his foreskin to make eyelids. He's gonna be able to see, he's just gonna be a little cockeyed. That was not nice.
No.
That was really a rude joke. All right, so then we're back in there, we're square. You got some room to shift back and forth if you need to, right? And then this goes on there. And then you just tighten these screws. And that's how you wire switch. Cool.
Yay.
Right. Yay. Okay, so we got to figure out the pitch of this roof. So we know that this is 19 feet wide this way, and it's 12 feet wide this way. So then we got to figure out that half of this is going to be 9.5 feet. Okay, so that gets us halfway. So we got to figure out how high to go, and then what is our longboard going to do. So how do we do that, you might ask? Well, I'll show you. So surely you know about cross multiplying and things. So we're going to take this, keep this right here. If we have 9.5 is to x as 4 is to 12, okay? Then you cross multiply and say x times 12 is 12x, and then 9.5 times 4 is whatever that is. That's not right. That's gonna be like, I don't know, 38 or something, right? Yeah, okay, it's 38. So then you divide by 12, so then x equals 38 divided by 12 is 3.16, whatever, okay? So that is how tall we need to be right here. So we're gonna call that 3.2 feet tall, okay? Now, how long is this board? Good question. Surely you know about the Pythagorean theorem. And if you don't, you're fidding. So the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I hope you like my pencil. So we know that this is 9.5 times 3.2 equals x, right? So we'll take 9.5 times 9.5. That's 90.25. That's the squared, okay? And then 3.2 times 3.2 is 10.24, okay? So then take that plus 90.25 equals, now turn it sideways. So we got 100, well, we know what that is. It's gonna be 10 feet, right? It's a little over. So 10 feet is how long this is right here. So we wanna have a little bit longer, so we're gonna call it a 12-foot board because we have to have that heave. So that's how you figure that out. And I hope you guys learned something about doing roofs. I'll show you how to do it in real life Monday or Tuesday. Okay, bye. Probably through the years, you've heard people say things like, we should just pop the pins and pull the door off so that we can get the fridge through, or something like that. And that's what we're having to do today. So it dawned on me that some people maybe don't know what that means. So these are your hinges, right? Bang, bang, bang. Usually you have 3 of them on residential. Usually most residential doors open in, because otherwise if these were on the outside, you just pop the pins and take the door right off. Doesn't matter what your locks are. So this hinge, you just pull that pin right out. There's one. Oops, come on. 2. 3. Now the pins are popped. Now comes the magic. You guys ready for this? It's gonna blow your mind. There we go, door lock. And that is how you pop the pins and take the door off. Oh, hey there. So, we're gonna teach you guys an important lesson. Obviously, it's been about 28 minutes. We framed all this up. It's gonna be really beautiful. Yeah, you can see that? Okay, so here's what happens. When you have things that are perpendicular to each other, like this or like this, then they can wobble back and forth, okay? So they used to put 45s on stuff, and that's a 45-degree angle for those of you who don't know what a 45 is. So that means they had a board that they would nail on the side, and they'd notch it in, and then they would nail that, and then that would give it rigidity, right? So 45 gives you rigidity. But plywood does the same thing. It's called shear strength. And so because we're nailing it into a bunch of different things, that locks it into place. So this is also wind bracing, which means that whenever the wind blows real hard, like a tornado or whatever, then your house doesn't just go blah, blah, and fall down, because that's bad. So for example, this looks all solid, and it is solid, and it's square and level and everything, but right now, it'll wobble back and forth. Can you see that? And so when I'm walking up on that trying to frame it, sometimes things get out of square, like whatever.
But once you nail this sucker up, I'm going to show you. I'm going to demonstrate. So let's get this up here. You got on here?
Just dropping down. I'm down there.
Okay. All right. So let me get your bottom. But now, come over here. Yeah, that's not square. So what we got to do is push this until it is. So Russell, come on over here. So push that. Yeah, you're gonna have to push hard. Come back right there. Okay. So that's good. Now you guys about to witness the magic. So, let's just see. Obviously this isn't completely done, but just as a demonstration, that does not move at all, right? That locks that suck up. So that's called shear strength, and that's when you have a 4x8 sheet and you nail all over it. And so we're gonna obviously put that all the way around before we put siding on, and that will lock this so it will not move. And that's very important, so that's called shear strength. So now you guys learned something and it wasn't even funny. There you go.
Hello, fellows. So it took us exactly, we timed it. It took us 9 minutes to paint that whole room and get all the stuff off of it. But then it occurred to me, because my good friend Daryl Bernard was like, hey, how do you clean out a paint sprayer? So a lot of you guys have these Magnum paint sprayers, Graco, whatever, from Home Depot. And I'm gonna show you how to clean one out because you need to know. So first of all, I have this bucket from inside. I'm gonna clean that out. That's not really rocket surgery. So we're gonna clean off these things. This is where your paint comes in, is through this, so that's a filter. So it's gonna have a bunch of yuck on it. And then that's where it comes back through if you're, once you're priming it. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so next thing you wanna do is in the handle, this thing, you can get closer. This thing unscrews, and when it does, it's gonna release pressure, at which point all the stuff in here is gonna flow out, but that's not important. There's a filter that's right in here, you see it? And that's filled with all kind of yucky stuff. So what we're gonna do is clean that out. See all that yuck that's on there? We're getting all that out. That's just after one use, so it will clog up quickly. When you put that back in, it's pretty simple. And then put this thing back on here. You want to do that first, because if you do it afterwards, then you lose all the liquid that's in the line, and then it'll dry out, so you don't want that. So you do this first, get that tight again, and there you go. So that's good. Now, the next step is you want to, this is where your paint comes in, and that's where it goes out. So there's a bunch of paint in the line, so we want to leave this out of the thing. You want to make sure you're not inside or whatever. Then we fill this up. What are you going to talk about, Brooke?
What do I want to talk about? I don't know.
Literally anything, any subject.
Trees.
Trees. I think that it's pretty much a miracle that trees breathe in carbon dioxide and they breathe out oxygen, and we breathe in oxygen, breathe out carbon dioxide. It's pretty neat because it's a sustainable cycle. Okay, so come closer. So as long as we've got this thing in the water, right? So as long as that's in the water, then it'll prime. So here's what you do. On the side, there's a button. That's an ON/OFF switch. Right now it's in the OFF position. We call it the OM position, or some people say on. Okay, so come here. So once it comes up through here and it primes, and once it's primed, then this is your prime to spray switch. So you switch it from prime to spray. Okay, so now it was coming up through here and through there, but now it's coming up through here and going to the spray tip. So Now we're gonna go to a place that doesn't really matter in the yard, which in this case, we predetermined to be over here. And, oops, sorry. We switched it to, I apologize. I'm trying to show you guys, I skip steps sometimes. So right now we're in start, okay? But then this is low, and then we're gonna go all the way to high, which you can't see because whatever, but let's see if I can get that off of there. See how it says high spray right there? That's where you want to be. It's on high spray. Okay, so come on over here. Then we're gonna come over here and spray this paint out. So that's got paint in it right now. You can see it looks like paint, and the whole line is filled with paint, and we have to get all that out and then get water sprayed through there. So we're gonna do that. It's switched over now. We're on water, see, but it's still pretty. Got a lot of paint in it. It used to be 20 years ago, these paint sprayers had labels on them, warning labels, and they said if you spray your hand like that, see how it's getting cleaner? If you spray your hand like that, it would inject paint into your skin. It would like tear your skin open because of such high pressure, and it would inject paint into your bloodstream, and they were like, amputate immediately or you will die. They had warning labels on all the paint sprayers. Amputate immediately or you'll die. So you couldn't do this. So now it's more consumer friendly. So you can tell that's quite a bit cleaner. Probably don't have to do that. Whatever, I was just showing you. And then that's kind of it. You can see it's clean water now. It's not perfectly clean, but it's good enough. And now our whole line is filled with water. We just stop there and come back over here. We're almost done. I know some of you think this is interesting, so that's why I show you. Then we go back to prime. So we're on spray right now. We go back to prime. We go back to start. And we turn it off. And that's it. Except what happens is the water that's in here will drip down and it'll get in the screen and it'll dry out. So then it won't be able to work anymore. So once we're all done, clean all this garbage out. And then clean this out. And that. And then I put it in a bucket for next time, and we're done. That's that. So that's how you clean up paint sprayer. Now you know. All right, so welcome to yet another episode of John Works Too Much. This one I'm not doing construction. We're doing special effects makeup. Okay, so we got Ryan here, and we're shooting a movie or short film. And spoiler alert, he's gonna get shot. It's the first scene in the movie, so it's not that big of a spoiler. And also, I'm a big fat liar. Okay, so we're thinking to ourselves, so how do you make a gunshot when you don't really have a bullet, or you really don't like have a big budget, but also he doesn't really want to die in this, am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it. But...
He was gonna like go method acting and really take a bullet, and we're like, I think that's murder, and so we're deciding not to do that. So here's how you do it. Are you ready? We take a condom. Shh, kids, people know about this stuff.
Yes.
You fill it with fake blood right here. We got a gallon of it right here. This is at my studio. Then you take a washer and you super glue that on and you tie that to a string, right? We tape this onto his chest. We're doing a through and through on this one, so we got one on his back too, right? Then we pull the shirt down. Good. And then we've got strings on both sides, right? And it's fishing line. You can barely see it. And whenever we say bang, we're gonna pull these, and you're gonna see blood burst out, and then it's gonna ooze down his chest, and it's gonna look like he's bleeding out. So this is pretty cool, and we'll show you how it happens whenever it's done. All right, cool. Okay. All right, you ready, guys? See the audio?
Speed.
Camera.
We're taking it from...
Camera speeds.
8 Lima, take 1, soft sticks.
We're taking it from, I say, Abby, and then I'm about to take a step.
Yes. Let's say Abby, take a step, and then bang.
You're gonna call the bang, right?
All right.
Okay. All right. Camera set.
Camera set.
Focus.
Focus up.
You're set.
Action.
Abby!
Think. Cut.
Good morning and welcome to yet another episode of John Works Too Much. So, first thing I want to tell you is that Dove chocolate tastes way better than their soap. It's good advice for you. Okay, so what we're doing on this job is we are gonna take out this shower and then we're gonna square this off and put in a shower door and bring the walls up. Good Lord. Good morning, and welcome to yet another episode of John Works Too Much. So David Canuli has come up with his own fragrance. And welcome to yet another episode of John Works Too Much. So David Canuli has released his own fragrance. And welcome to yet another episode of John Works Too Much. I'm laughing right now because David Canuli has released his own fragrance, and I do not recommend it. It does not smell good at all. Okay, so also I want to tell you for the record that Dove chocolate tastes way better than their soap. Okay, so what we're going to do here today is we're going to take this shower out. Well, let's tile the pan, the faucet, everything. David's got the ghost. And then we're going to raise these walls up and then put a shower right over here. We're also going to put in 2 new water heaters up in the attic, do a bunch of stuff in the garage, put a bunch of lights and fans and stuff in, add some outlets or whatever. Anything else we want to talk about, Canuli?
No, I mean, I think this is going to be a good job.
Yeah, besides your fragrance.
I have yet to do this type of shower. It's a lot of tile.
It's a lot of time, we'll get it. It's going to be amazing.
Are we going to just basically keep everything the same in here?
No, it's going to all change.
That's going to change?
All of it's going to change.
Okay.
We're going to come out to here, we're going to put this outlet or the switch on the other side of the wall. All kinds of stuff. It's going to be pretty much amazing. So yeah, that's that.